Procrastination is not laziness. It's not lack of discipline either. It's an emotional response. You're actually not avoiding the task. You're avoiding the feelings behind the task. That is how the task makes you feel the moment you think about it. Welcome to InnerQuest Healing Talks, conversations for stress to bliss. I'm your host, Ravindra Murthy. In the last episode, we explored the stress procrastination loop, and we saw how we keep repeating the same pattern time and again. In this episode, let's dive in deeper to understand what are the root causes and emotional triggers behind procrastination. Why does this happen in the first place? And believe me, once you understand this, everything starts making sense and you will realize how to get away from procrastination. Let's understand what are root causes and emotional triggers. Root causes are deeper patterns that is there inbuilt within us, while emotional triggers are what you feel in the moment. And triggers are kind of surface, while root causes are the actual source of your procrastination. So one of the root cause that is common is perfectionism. I think I had also shared in one of my previous episodes. So recording my videos was an example of procrastination where I wanted to do things perfectly with my own high internal standards. And that was the reason why I was procrastinating. Yes, when you think to be perfect, the emotional trigger is pressure, because perfectionism is something like a root cause. It comes as a pattern in you, and it is your belief that yes, everything I do has to be perfect. And that is a place where pressure and stress starts building up. And what if it is not perfect? What if it is? You try to create certain excuses and you don't start. And the next root cause is low emotional energy. Think of an important task that you have to do in a day, and you postpone it to the end of the day. So let's say it's an important task which requires your focus, your attention, but after the complete day's work, you get into mental fatigue and you are emotionally exhausted. You don't feel to start the task itself. And that is another place where the root cause is the low emotional energy, because you have decided to do that task at the end of the day, and that low emotional energy, which is the root cause, and the trigger is lack of motivation, and you feel heaviness and decide to postpone that activity or task. And these root causes are generic pattern which can show up across all the PRCM zones with various root causes and triggers. So let's take one example in each zone so that you'll understand this pattern more clearly. One is self-doubt. Example, when you want to achieve some personal goals, for instance, right? So the root cause is self-doubt, where you get into low confidence, negative self-beliefs, and that automatically gives you kind of insecurity. And you start questioning yourself, am I capable of doing this? Right? So let's say you are planning to construct a house. And when you have self-doubt, you will not be able to take the action. and you feel low and you feel insecure. So that's a simple example. Could be something to do with personal goal. Next, let's take up a relationship challenge. Let's say you have a tug off with your relative or a friend and you would like to sort it out. And you want to have some difficult, uncomfortable conversations. And that is something where we have emotional discomfort as one of the root cause. So again here, though it is important, you feel like hesitating. You don't want to talk. You don't want to have that conversation. And you're not ready to face reality and take responsibility. So you start avoiding the feeling and you start avoiding the task itself. And that is, again, an emotional discomfort, which is a very important reason why we procrastinate. Similarly, let us say you want to take some certification in your career for your career growth. And you come up with the plan of preparing what are the things that are required to take up your certification exam, etc., and look at the entire topics. And in a moment, you feel these tasks are too big. I have my work, I have my project, and in addition to this, I have to spend so much time and energy, and you feel these tasks are too huge, and you get into some kind of a confusion. So that is an emotional trigger, getting confused, and where your brain says, let's deal with this later, not required. What will I gain after certification, for example? So that's a simple example where overwhelm is one of the root cause as a pattern that we can see. And the last one in this episode, what I would like to highlight is another important thing, which is fear. So fear is another root cause. And a classic example could be you want to do some investment. And whenever you want to do some investment with your money, you have the fear of failure. Say you want to invest in market, so fear of fluctuations in market. What if my money goes and I don't want to lose my money? What if I do invest in real estate? Then again, you have a fear saying that, oh, what if something happens with that paperwork and it's not proper? And you start getting that negative feelings, right? And you start becoming anxious. So an emotional trigger in this case is anxiety, where you hesitate and you avoid, and instead of facing the fear, you try to compromise and delay that and saying, okay, let me think about investing maybe next year or something like that. So that's a simple examples where across different PRCM zones, we have same patterns being reflected for procrastinating your tasks and goals. Now, think about this. Think about that one task that you have been delaying and just observe what emotion comes up when you think about it. And that emotion is your trigger. And as you're undergoing that emotion in your mind, just scan and understand what feeling is there behind that emotion, and that is your pattern, your root cause. A very simple technique. And once again, let me tell you, you are not procrastinating because you are lazy. You are procrastinating because you are protecting yourself from that uncomfortable emotion. If you can identify your emotional trigger and associated root cause, you're already halfway with breaking the procrastination. So many times, just this awareness is not alone, that is enough. That is what I call it as awareness, becoming aware of your emotional triggers and becoming aware of your feelings and identifying the root cause is basically the concept of awareness, and that is not sufficient. You need to respond differently, and that's what I will talk in my next episode. So we will break one of the biggest myths, time management. So many times we procrastinate stating we don't have time, and that is not a fix for procrastination. So this is something what I will discuss in my next episode and see how time management has no link to procrastination. In addition to this, if you want to go beyond understanding this and how you can actually take action, join my Procrastination Breakthrough Masterclass, where I will guide you step by step to transform from stress to bliss. If you know anyone who is procrastinating and might be also requiring help to beat procrastination, please share this episode. This is your host, Ravindra Murthy. Thank you for joining me today. Take a breath, take it slow, and remember, bliss begins within.